On Sunday, we read that beautiful poem in Genesis, the story of God's creating the world. And throughout that story, we hear the phrase, God saw that it was very good. And that included God's making humankind in God's image. God saw that it was very good. Today, in the midst of the global coronavirus pandemic, we face another global disease, systemic racism, and the unjust and inequitable treatment of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We are a church in all 16 counties of this beautiful state, and we hold a variety of political views. And while the pandemic of racism certainly has political implications, the church's response to join in the movement to eradicate racism is rooted in our baptism, at which we ask, will you seek and serve Christ in all persons? Will you strive for justice and peace among all people and respect the dignity of every human being? And we state our agreement by saying, I will, with God's help. We speak often about our baptismal promises rightly because they are the foundational principles of how we live our faith. For those of us who are white, we need to listen, hear the sadness, and join in the cry for justice. And for those of us who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color, know that we hear you. And we want to be united with you and make sure that your voices are amplified. For the whole church, let me say unequivocally that we condemn discrimination, racism, and racial injustice in our communities and in our churches. We're going to work together to redress the structures that elevate white privilege and subjugate people of color. We're aware that words are never enough. We're reminded of St. John the Divine's words in 1 John, let us love not in word or speech, but in truth and in action. We will and we must take action. Some of us have the capacity to join in allyship with the Black community in the streets as part of peaceful protest. Some of us will, along with police officers and others in authority, including in the church, symbolize our penitence and solidarity by literally bending on one knee as a sign of our commitment to change. Some of us must stay at home due to the virus, not looking away, but participating in other ways to support this movement. All of us will educate ourselves by talking at church and at our dining tables in what might be challenging conversations. It's okay to be challenged. And all of us, I pray, will listen to the voices of those who are hurting and to the Holy Spirit who guides and governs us. In the coming weeks, I will announce the formation of the Diocese of Maine's Justice Commission. It will integrate existing committees and networks, such as Episcopal Peace Fellowship and the Committee on Indian Relations, with new initiatives that are going to equip us for the hard work of listening and learning and joining together to work for racial justice. There's a quotation circulating on the internet, some of you have seen it, saying, some are posting on social media, some are protesting in the streets, some are donating silently, some are educating themselves, some are having tough conversations with friends and family. A revolution has many lanes. Be kind to yourself and others who are traveling in the same direction. Just keep your foot on the gas. God saw that God's work in creation was very good, and now we join God and God's new creation in Jesus Christ to take our sadness, our resolve, and our love, and to work for justice. We can do this with God's help.